Hello YouTube, this is Silver Age Dave. I am sitting here on Friday morning. My sign's falling over because this one is going to be possibly quite controversial. I haven't done a question shout out to the community in a little while. The response on those was and has been incredible, and I so appreciate getting the opinions of so many of you. Used to be that you'd go to the LCS and people would talk, and or you'd go to your D&D group back in the olden days and you'd talk, or however. And nowadays with social media, I think this is our forum. So I want to talk about things. I'll set this aside and I'm going to show you a few comic books. So Silver Age Dave, as you know, I'm in the stores every Wednesday. I'm hitting multiple LCSs, and while we're doing it, I did have someone shout out recently, I think it was Comic Advantage, that asked me in one of the live shows, maybe it was New York Warriors, or I don't know which show. I've been watching a lot of Warriors and comics and Cold Ones. Maybe it was on that show, another great show. They asked me, or this person, I think it was Comic Advantage, asked me if I bought Spider-Man 800. And I said, yes, indeed, I did. I am in the stores every Wednesday. I was just chatting with Jim Comics. I am trying to cut down each week the amount of money I'm spending and the amount of comics, frankly, that I'm buying. I've got stacks and stacks of boxes that I need to bag and board. I've fallen a little behind. I'll just go through some of the Spider-Man 800 titles, which you guys have seen. So, again, not a rant against comic books or meant to be a rant against anything. That's kind of cool, the back on there. In general, just a question shout out. So, what I've seen in my career of buying comic books, obviously, I've seen the pricing go up. I think they were 20 centers when I was a little guy. I'm too young, I think, for the 15-cent age. There were probably a few 15 centers that I saw. Now these Amazing Spider-Mans, there were a lot of damaged ones. I did have to shop around to get ones that are fairly undamaged. The binding on these was suspect, we'll say, at the least. So I've seen price increases over the years. And some of those increases are very understandable and justifiable. I mean, if you think about it, comics went from 25 cents to 35 cents literally in 1 year. The Marvel price tests to go from 25 to 30 cents, which they felt would fail, was in 1976. And then they bumped it another nickel in 1977. From a percentage base, I'm not a mathematician, but I'm thinking that was a pretty sizable, percentage increase over the course of 12 months, really. And so when we see price increases nowadays, I'm not necessarily ranting and saying that, oh, it's unjustified. I know there's costs that go into creating a product. This particular product that I'm showing you all these covers for, I think was substantial. $9.99 for one comic book. Granted, it's oversized, but they didn't spend too much on the binding. I think that was a bit excessive. I think to some extent it was a money grab, but they're a company. They're allowed to do what they want and charge what they want, and sooner or later the market will dictate if they can get away with it. And looking back last year, there was a Deadpool anniversary issue. I forget what it was, 600 or something like that. That was $10. And so it's not unheard of. Now we have the Action Comics 1000 here, which, looking back, it was, what was it, $8? So, I hate to say, oh, they did us a real favor. I'd love to show you all the covers for this. I do have a ton of these also, and so, again, just a testament, I am a fan of this hobby. So then that brings me Oh, and this is a Dynamic Forces one. I got the little certificate on there. So it brings me then to these, which just came out. And we've all seen these Walmart exclusives. They just came out. And these are 100-page giants. They have a beautiful binding. They're limited to 5 of each of these per store. I shouted out Night Tiger, who gave me the tip that some of these hit the shelves a day early. And so I ran to my store and I bought some. I was watching Read Comics yesterday. I didn't realize Read Comics, Read, that you hit Ann Arbor. I hit Ann Arbor too with my wife. It's a great place to go for dinner and entertainment. It's not that far from Toledo, by the way, so shout me out. So these at $4.99, I think, are the best value there is. Okay, I'm a big fan of these things. I'm going to pull one of these out of here, the Superman, and then there was, of course, the Batman. So they're a great value. Okay, so I'm a big fan. So I've heard a lot about you guys being out there and getting these. I think that's what we do as a community. We tip each other off to cool stuff like that. And then I was listening a few days ago to one of your shows, and I thought, you know what no one has talked about? You know, people have talked about the LCS and protecting the LCS. You know, 3 of the stories in here are reprints. 1 of the stories in here is a new story that you don't have access to at the LCS. And that's a big shift. But you look here, this is an 80-page giant. This is from May of '88. That's $2.50. That's $5, okay? I would be willing to bet if Journo put his hand to the math on it, we'd be way ahead at $4.99. As a comic community, well, I am concerned about the health and wellness of the comic industry. I want it to do well. I think the comic industry right now is running a little bit fat. I think they are pushing things, and I think they're feeling really good about themselves. And I think when the executives are looking at important issues and they're saying $8, $10, you know, we're just a little bit away from the $12 comic book. If we allow it, and granted, I'm spending the money. I'll put these right here. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't buy comics. What I'm saying is I think there needs to be a shift. So my question to the community is this. How do you feel about these Walmart exclusives? Do you feel that Walmart is going to champion our cause? If they're bringing us $5 100-page giants, I think that's tremendous. Obviously, Marvel is able to give us inexpensive comic books. They can do reprints of special issues. Let me grab something I just saw here. They can do reprints of special issues for $1. Okay? We know they can produce a comic book for $1. So you look at this, and do we feel that things have gotten carried away? What price point would you like to get to? If it's a pendulum and they've gone too far with pricing, and this isn't only at Marvel, this is at the industry in general. You look at Alternate Comics, and they can produce a comic book for $1.50, right? They've got some great stuff. How do you feel the Walmart exclusive is going to affect our industry? I had no problem walking into Walmart to buy this. I had no problem laying down my $5 to buy this comic book. I don't have a problem going into Books A Million to buy comic books. Granted, they're the same comic books that are available in the LCS, other than one's a fried pie variant. But I have no problem with it. I had no problem walking into Walmart. I think competition is good. I think that is what built this country. It's what builds industry. So how do you feel about it? YouTube, I've gone on for 10 minutes. I've shown off a lot of modern covers. I'm a big fan of this community. I appreciate all the different viewpoints and aspects. Come at it any direction you want. Please come at it respectful of the other thoughts and opinions of other collectors, as you've done in the past. I've been wildly impressed with the arguments you guys put forth and the cases you build. So thank you so much. If you take a few minutes and you put a comment in there, if you want to make a video on it, that's okay too. With that, this is Silver Age Dave. Question of the community number ? Because I have no idea how many of these I've done. Maybe it's number 6. Who knows? Silver Age Dave is out.